Hello, welcome to the second edition of UCOVI's expansion into the main of vlog and video content, which is began last year with Matt Charles' interview, and is basically our attempt to showcase kind of thought leading data practitioners and their stories. This time to the left or to my right on the screen, depending on how Teams arranges it, it's the turn of the classification guru Susan Walsh, and the author of the recently published master tome of data cleansing and classification, Between the Spreadsheets, Classifying and Fixing Dirty Data. I've got my does it go through the filters? Never mind, but it's I've got my invisible it does, yeah, thank you, Susan. Yeah, well, I've got my potentially visible, well-thumbed copy, but I'd have bought it from BigDataLDN, but and got you to sign it. But I had my hands full carrying free branded notepads and stress balls. But I eventually, I
don't know if you know, but I went to an event in San Diego just before Christmas, and we went around the event and got as much swag as possible. Then myself, Scott Taylor and George Furrican rated each company's swag in terms of how good it was. So that was fun, yeah.
I didn't quite have the time to do that on my review, but it's quite a good idea. I mean,
how much of it are you still using now?
Well, I've kind of piled 3 of the notepads up to raise my screen in my home office, so that's so I use useful. That. Occasionally use the stress ball, but I don't. Definitely not criticism of work, but but it's not. It was just nice to be back at a face-to-face exhibition after 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I basically I'm interviewing you because I think the what I got from that expo was that there was a lot of, you always get a lot of kind of hype talk around kind of big data buzzwords, basically big data driven kind of automation. This year I think it was low code. I think is the fashion. Everyone's trying to kind of make it make the technology be powerful and do the work, but make it kind of approachable for people. But at your seminar, Susan, there was it was, even for an event that was events were kind of coming back to life in September 2021 after the basically after the restrictions were winding down. So I think the event was doing really well. It was like 2/3 full, but your seminar was, I remember it was kind of standing remotely.
I know, like they ran out of headsets. Yeah,
it was, and it was it was obviously, and it was, I was very surprised because it was in a kind of domain which is essentially an arms race to be the most technically sophisticated. Yours was a best practice on using, I mean, the theory stands up on its own, but using Excel predominantly as a tool to clean, and for companies to clean and get a grips on their data before running analytics from it. And having read the book, it kind of takes that into the next step and really expands on some of the stuff you were saying at your talk, especially your COPE methodology, and as well as useful tips on using Excel to clean data. I think your book sets a world record for the analogies of day-to-day concepts working with data. So I mean, I try my one for my blog, which I think about 3 people have read, is about data's climbing Mount Kilimanjaro from base camp to the summit. The summit is the interpreted reports, and the base camp is the understanding of how many different databases you've got across your departments, and then the work is getting from one to the other. I think you analogize data against carpet, clothing, coats, obviously the coat methodology, and also and laundry, and even saying that off the peg taxonomy is like an off the peg suit. But I think there's a very serious point and use for all of this, because I don't think companies can really deploy data to actionable insights and success without making it approachable to the people that work with it. And I think a lot of the stuff you say in your book is that it's not just data practitioners that work with it and have to use it. It's procurement teams, business teams, sales and marketing.
Yeah. That's it. We're all responsible for it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, so I'll start. Could you like give a quick overview of what the book covers and who, and of all of the marketers, business procurement and data practitioners, who it best caters to?
Yeah, I wrote it for pretty much everyone. So someone who has never looked at data before in their life that wants to understand the basics. For people who are working in data who maybe want some tips on how they can work more efficiently. And then also for the decision makers in businesses who don't really understand why they need to invest in cleaning data. A lot of them think it's a waste of money. So this is why. And it covers off my specialist area, which is spend data classification. And then we've got supplier normalization, building taxonomies, and then the more general area of data cleansing, and that could be databases, so people's names, addresses, phone numbers, etc. And the reality is there are a lot of people using a lot of different tools out there, but the common one we have is Excel. So I kind of reverse engineered my process into Excel so that people can take that and then use it in whichever tool that they are using. And I give them, tables and lists of things that they can use while they're working to keep them on track and keep that consistency from quote. But I also wanted it to be enjoyable to read and light-hearted and informative but fun as well.
Yeah, I picked that up now, and that's well the analogies shine through in that, and it's also, it makes for the kind of hybrid of a I don't want to call it an Excel training course, but it does go into depth. It goes into depth of how you use how you use especially basic data and pivot tables.
Yeah.
To clean the data. And it goes into enough detail for someone like me, and I've used Excel for 5 or 6 years and done data cleaning to actually learn from. So it gives plenty of detail, but it also it kind of chapterizes. It makes it a fun read as well, and that's uncommon. Would you? I mean, because there's a lot of Udemy training and LinkedIn learning courses out there that I would expect to kind of cover something like this. So did you always want to write up in book length, or did you consider doing a film training course on it?
So I am not a massive reader. I struggle to read and retain the information. I read a page and I've forgotten already by the time I've got to the end of the page what's happened. But I can see that there isn't the resources out there for this kind of thing. Not in Excel. You can find courses cleaning in Python and R and SQL, all these things, but where's the cleaning in Excel? It doesn't really exist. And so the book was the first port of call. The second port of call will be training courses this year. So I will be building and recording some training courses. I just have to find the time to do it.
Yeah, it is. It's and editing videos is something that looks easy, actually, isn't. So it's
yeah, it takes a lot of time. I might even get someone else to do that bit. Yeah.
And when you write, where do your ideas come from? How do you think things like the data maturity cycle from dirty laundry to ironed laundry that's put up in the cupboard?
So that came from the company that actually designed it. I told them that I wanted to create this visual maturity model that people could look at and understand straight away what it meant. And they came up with the laundry. Absolutely genius idea. So then I built the levels around that. So I was quite lucky I didn't actually have to think too much about that one, but they listened to what I was looking for, which was there are lots of maturity models out there from big consultancy firms that are big grids that don't really mean anything. If you want to take something to the rest of the business who don't know what data is, you show them that picture and they can understand that, we're here and we need to be here.
Yeah, I think it's also memorable as well, and it's because it encompasses the actions needed to do something and the result. And I think, and you're right, there are a lot of frameworks as well which do mean something and are helpful, but people just struggle to remember. So like there's crisp DM is a kind of a common data management and an analytical framework, but you look into it, you see the cyclicality of it. It's all about at what point the interpretation of data comes on, and then at what point that begets further analysis, and then it's a cycle. But it's very hard to kind of, for a business leader, to remember crisp DM as an analogy, and also what it's for and what the order is. But the laundry maturity model kind of like is more accessible to people.
Thanks. And I think that's the difference with me when I am talking to people about data, dirty data, data quality. I'm not just talking to the data world, I'm talking to procurement people, and I'm also talking to the rest of the business. So I'm trying to make it as relatable as possible for everybody.
Okay, yeah. I wonder if you'd just tell us a bit about, because I've got, is it always easy to kind of manage people in that way? Because often the talent is there and the understanding is there if people are prepared to be patient, but getting managers, the procurement team, marketing, sales, and the data team in one room together is actually the bit that actually never happens. So kind of how do you meet that challenge in your consultancy work?
So I guess that's where quote comes in. So make sure your data has its quote on. Doesn't matter which department is using it. It should be consistent, it should be organized, it should be accurate, and it should be trustworthy. And if everybody's working to the same standards, rules, terms, then you should minimize your errors. If your data is organized, you should be able to find what you need quite quickly. It should be accurate. And once you have those things, you then have the trustworthy data. That's one way, but then actually let's try and get them all in a room together. Let's get everybody to agree those common standards and terms and processes, so that they're more invested in it, so that they will stick to it.
I think that's vital, but in my experience it's been difficult. It's been because you often get too much engagement or too little, so you might get very, because for whatever reason data is it's a dry and intimidating subject, however much we both enjoy it, however much fun you try and make it. And you're going to get, if you want to get a spend taxonomy that aligns with sales areas and aligns with kind of like marketing audience segmentation, that's what you really want. You want everyone talking the same one.
And actually
it becomes a negotiation, doesn't it, between the two?
So there's a way around.
Are you like the mediator of the negotiation?
Not necessarily, because the same issue with finance have a different lens to procurement. So the way that you can work around that is each department could have their own taxonomy for their use, which is mapped to one master taxonomy for the organization. So everybody gets to do what they need to do, but when the business needs to see it, they have an overarching taxonomy for that, and that's the way around that.
Okay. Do you help design that?
I do. I have helped build a lot of customer taxonomies, and they may have started the process themselves and are looking for just some help to go over it. And I've helped them consider items or things that they hadn't thought about. So for example, I see a lot, people don't necessarily differentiate between products and services. So cleaning is a great example. Buying cleaning products is not the same as buying cleaning services. Do you want to differentiate? Or catering services, running a canteen, versus buying some food is different. So do you want to separate that? Security is another one. Do you want to separate security, like security guards, from monitors and alarms and things like that? So there's a lot to think about that people might not necessarily even consider.
I think also in taxonomy and data cleaning and categorization, you will eventually hit a long tail of the last 5% of the records, which are truly random and uncategorizable.
They are categorizable in my world, trust me.
Are they categorizable without making so many categories that the category list becomes as long as the unique customer list?
So by the time you get to the kind of tip of the tail, they're very small spend. A lot of it ends up going in professional services and consultancy, because you'll find it's a lot of people's names, or it's office supplies or stationery or taxis or things like that. So that actually the pool of what it could be narrows down. It's just there's lots more of it, but it's really important to get it in the right category bucket, at least to level 1. But my default, if I really can't find something, professional services is where it sits.
What's been the best classification guru, result, and exponent of the COPE methodology in a story that you've had so far? What's the best result that you've had for a client that
I don't
legally allowed to mention?
Yeah, I don't follow up as much as I should. I kind of do the project, fix it, and move on. I do know that clients have saved tens of millions of dollars after I've helped build a taxonomy and classify their spend data. I know that another client has had thousands of consultants on their supplier list that they've had to rationalize, which they only knew because I'd classified the data. I've saved companies so much time as well by doing it and doing it properly first time, and then training their team to take over that responsibility. So getting them to maintain their own data as well. And just bringing visibility and light to data that they didn't know was possible.
I suppose a kind of a excitement as well. The kind of do they after they've had you in, do they get not just excited by the pop at the end, the kind of clean pie chart or bar chart with the correct numbers, or do they get excited by the process as well?
Well, I'm here to shock horror. I don't provide them with any bar charts or visualizations. I am all about the data in the spreadsheet. But what I do is I never overwrite the original data. So I always add what we've done in a different column, so they can actually see, physically see the difference we've made in the data, which I think is more powerful than charts.
That's great. And how's the book doing? Is it is it selling well? How was the launch at Big Data London?
Yeah, it went really well. We sold quite a few books, and it was a really unusual experience, like being asked to sign a book as well. But I'm getting used to that now. I've had some amazing reviews and feedback. The publisher said they're happy with how the sales are going.
That's good.
And actually, I think I'm only just getting started, to be honest. I think word is starting to spread about the book now. And so I just want to help as many people as possible. And let's get that data clean.
And have you got a sequel planned?
Oh, no. That was enough. That literally nearly broke me writing that book. So I think, I am not in a place where I would want to write another book. Happy to do a training course.
Well, but, in 1996, Steve Redgrove said he'd never get in a boat again, and 4 years later, and won a fifth record, five golds in rowing. I just want to pick you up on something on some of the detail without giving too many spoilers, because I can't possibly give a spoiler alert on a 150-page book. It's impossible. But
just tease them with a little bit.
Yeah, just I suppose the detail, the aim of classifying the dirty data in your methodology is clean it's numbers, it's reporting and getting the reporting correct by making the data clean at company and understandable industry level, so that you can run the same run pivot tables of aggregated sum, different oldest supplier, newest supplier, biggest growth of supplier or spend category year on year. But the analyst can do that without worrying about about dirty data.
Yeah, or you know, they're having to do a bit of a Frankenstein job in the background, pasting information from this spreadsheet to this spreadsheet, and then more from this one. You know, let me put that all together. I'll do that bit, and then you go and do your bit.
Yeah, and I think that it reaches an apex in pages kind of midway through, where you talk about the kind of the detail of how to do it. So the order of work is in Excel or in any tool you can use. But first, you start with your unnormalized, unclean supplier names, which could have Amazon EU, Amazon UK, or it could have Dell Inc. or Dell Computers Inc. or something.
Yeah.
And you start, and so you have that, and you have the descriptions of what you bought from them. You start by cleaning the company names using the standardization data asset you have and the method and the order to do it. You have clean supplier names, then you overlay taxonomy onto that. So but the taxonomy is based on the supplier and what you bought for them. So from Amazon's
Amazon's always
but you could say start with, I don't know, what, somewhere between Amazon and somewhere between Just Juice. I know you can only you can only buy orange juice. You can't buy insurance from Just Juice, can you? But you have your company A, and if you bought, I don't know, catering services, and you bought cleaning service, let's pretend that exists from them. That's, you standardize their name, and you standardize cleaning services and catering services from company A, and that's all normalized. And you do that for the whole of your start data set, maintaining the original values so that you have the original spelling variant of the company and its master, so that all spelling variants are caught. And then whenever you get new data, you get you can look it up against the unstandardized to get its standardized company name, and then to get its industry and the product description to get its industry. I just want to pick up a bit where you said that you can save time by, so you would start with a pivot table of company names and different industries. To root out the singletons. The singletons being company A only ever sold you office plants or something.
Yeah.
And then you can VLOOKUP those using standardized name on company name alone, because you know they're singletons.
Yeah.
And then after that, you've got your Amazons or your multi-industry suppliers, and you look up them against the on standardized company name and product against the supplier, against normal to get the right industry and the right company. I'm sure, does the methodology have a way around? Say, for instance, I buy chairs from Staples, and then I do my master list, and I've got Staples furniture. So in that situation, I do a VLOOKUP just on Staples for my next batch of unclean data. What does it have what if in the time between what if I do my master list and then someone buys, I don't know, a mouse mat, or someone buys a computer from Staples? There'd be Staples IT equipment.
There's a few suppliers: Staples, Amazon, Argos. I would never classify those to an individual classification.
Okay. So you essentially have a catch list anticipating.
Yeah, I mean,
multi-supply
the master list will be mainly things like something hotel, something lawyers, something solicitors, something travel agents. The really, or IBM will always be sit under IT. We know that. So it's only ever the ones that you are really sure have a unique, like taxi companies will only ever be taxis. DHL will only ever be couriers or logistics. So if you know that for your business, you can put that into your master list. But anything where you suspect there might be more than one classification, don't do it.
Okay, so if you anticipate, oh, hang on, they don't just sell that product, we could buy something else in future.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's really easy to default staples to office supplies, but actually they sell cleaning products, they sell tech, like peripherals, you know, they sell a lot of different things.
Okay. Sorted. Bulletproof. Excellent. Then can you just, it focuses a lot on Excel, but you give a chapter to Visokio, Omniscope by Visokio, which they were at Big Data London 2021, and you give a chapter on how to reproduce your methodology using that software. That kind of raises a lot of questions, because that seemed to be the biggest supply area on Big Data London Expo. It's Visokio Omniscope's got it, was the only one I saw that had a visualization suite at the end, which was pretty impressive. But it seems to fit it. It's a family of it's a basic product family of ETL and basically data transformation and merging software that
it's amazing. I love it.
Takes it in, blends it, and then gives you a writable output to another database, to a file, or to a visualization suite.
And now you can even output to Tableau, Click, etc. So there's lots of different options.
I think what I kind of read behind there being so many, that being the dominating product at an expo like Big Data London, is that it's dirty data's and not just dirty data within the data set, but dirty IT infrastructure around the management of data. The analysis not being weighed as a serious consideration in IT procurement and system choice among different teams. And I think that companies like Visokio and like Alteryx and Data IQ are trying to solve that, or anticipate that problem. If I'm going further, enable that problem within companies by competing in arms race to come up with the best solution for it. Do you think that this competition of supply for the same problem is helping companies, or is it hindering them to some extent? Would you like to see more companies take a step back from technology procurement and focus on the work around data and doing it using the simplest solution possible? Because you do it in Excel.
You know, there are a lot of risks in just using Excel in terms of quality and things going wrong, but I think you need a suite or a range of different products, because not every business operates in the same way. So you need something different to fit each of the needs of each business, and it really depends on what's going to work for your business. Where the skills lie within your team, how they can use that software or that tool. If it's providing value for money, can it do everything you need it to? So yeah, I think a range is good.
Finally, Susan, what's your favorite Excel formula?
I mean, I love a concatenate. That's like just cool, and it can help add to like a crazy VLOOKUP on multiple columns and things like that. But I do love a VLOOKUP as well.
Okay.
And it's Valentine's Day today, and I have actually just posted the Valentine's lookup. So
I used to look up Excel chat up lines.
Nice. Actually, although I have to say,
and me in the same cell equals, I don't know, LB, I don't know. But have you ever used the text join before? It's like a kind of concatenate on steroids.
No, I haven't. And actually, I do love that. I have been getting into the XLOOKUP as well, which will go multiple directions, which is pretty cool.
I'm very sad about XLOOKUP, because I made a VBA macro 5 years ago which did the that's not going to be used, but
no.
Oh well. Which is why, you have to move on, and that's why I'm doing my lovely blog. So
yeah, good for you.